Today we're going to take a look at congruent triangles and the conditions that make congruent triangles. So we've already talked about two postulates that can prove congruent triangle. We looked at the side angle side, and then also we looked at angle side angle. We're also going to take a look at a new theorem, that is the side angle angle theorem, and that's going to be a third way that we're going to be able to prove triangles. And then we're going to look at isosceles triangles and why isosceles triangle can you can show congruency with an isosceles triangle. And then we are going to use these theorems to come up with even more theorems to show congruent triangles. So let's start with the side angle angle. So the side angle angle just says that if you have two angles of a triangle and a side opposite of those angles, and all of those are congruent to the corresponding angles of another triangle, then the two triangles are congruent. So this is what this looks like. You'll have a side that is congruent, and then you're going to have two sets of angles that are congruent. And so notice that the side, it's not going to be an inscribed side, it's the opposite side, right? So it's not if it was this side here, then you would use the postulate angle side angle, but since the side is over here, you have to use the angle angle side theorem. And then the next theorem is the isosceles triangle theorem, and this theorem says that the two base angles are congruent because they are supposed to have the same measurement. So since they are the base angles are congruent, you can show congruency. If two angles of a triangle are congruent, then the sides, the opposite of those angles, are congruent, and then the triangle is an isosceles triangle. So if you have two angles that are congruent, the opposite of those angles, the sides opposite, have to be congruent, and then you also have an isosceles triangle. And our last theorem is that a triangle is equilateral if and only if it is equiangular. So if it's one, it's got to be the other. You can go ahead and take a look at the proofs of these theorems and postulates in the chapter in the textbook. If you want, go ahead and write those proofs down and make sure that you have all the theorems and the definitions nice and neat in your notes, so that way you can refer to them. And I would definitely draw pictures so that way you have a good idea of what you're working with. Go ahead and try some problems on your own.